Mhm.
Okay, Albert. So I think first off, if you don't mind introducing yourself to anyone watching, I'm Mike DeBoer with Schoolie Mitchell. But if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Happy to. Thank you, Mike. My name is Albert Hakim, and I'm a certified mergers and acquisitions advisor with the Kensington Company. I'm based out of the New York area, but as you know, with franchising, we service really all over the country.
Awesome. Awesome, Albert. And a little bit about your professional background, what you've done throughout your career, and then what you're doing now in your role with the Kensington Company.
Yeah, so I'm going to try not to go into too long of a story, but my story is I don't know that it's rather unique, but I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've owned my own businesses. I've sold them. I've gone in and out of multiple careers. You could say I cut my teeth in multi-unit retail and wholesale and distribution. Um, frankly, I got into this role as a merger and acquisitions guy. Pardon me one second. N- Completely by accident. It was not my intention. I didn't go to school to become a merger and acquisition specialist. I was actually looking for a change of career, much like a lot of the clients I deal with. And it led me to franchising, and which led me to ultimately a complete discovery process, including the FranNet discovery process, which ultimately led me to not purchase the franchise because I proved why the franchise wouldn't work where I was looking to do it. And the people who took me through the process, Kensington Company, were so impressed. They went, "Have you ever thought of maybe joining us?" And I swear that's my story.
Huh.
And so I ended up joining the company about 14 years ago now. And I have to tell you, my experience as an entrepreneur and a businessman, and I still own my own business. I have a cookie distribution business out of New York, serves me well in speaking to candidates and in the world of mergers and acquisitions, because there's a way a business owner can speak to a business owner to kind of cut through the noise. And I do that.
Sure. And I'm sure that builds instant trust and credibility with them as well. You've been in their shoes, right?
I have, and I am. And it's really, there really is something to the, if you haven't had to meet a payroll or meet a deadline, or really have to deal with a receivable or payable that you don't have the ability to deliver on time, you really don't understand. You really have not stood in their shoes. And so it gives me an excellent perspective to deal with the candidates.
Awesome. Well, Albert, if you could explain a little bit your expertise that you provide your candidates, your clients, the services that you're able to provide them, how you kind of help them through their process.
Happy to. So the first core thing is that as a merger and acquisitions company that also does franchising through FranNet, we're able to offer people who want to make an investment in something new, want to make a career change. We're able to offer them both sides. We can speak to them about existing businesses, cash flowing businesses, franchise resales that exist, or we can take them through the process of jumping into something new. And often I find that having the ability to really get to the heart of what these folks are looking for, and having the resources to help them in either direction, is one of the keys to our success. I will tell you that my process is really very straightforward. Whether they're looking at a company that exists with existing cash flow and they're looking to purchase it, or if they're looking to go down the FranNet road, or if I influence them to take a look at the FranNet road, which everybody should. You really should. If you're doing a business acquisition, you need to know what's out there. The key is the right fit. It's the same key. If it's the wrong fit, and listen to this one. Here comes the golden nugget. If it's the wrong fit, Mike, someone on their team, someone in their family will call it out. So it's not about selling anything, because you can't sell something. You're not going to get past their accountants and their attorneys and their spouses and the family. If it's the wrong fit, you're wasting time.
Sure.
Find the right fit. Find the need. Drill down to what really is driving the need.
Yep.
And that's very much in our training.
Right.
It's way before Sandler or any of those tools. This is in my DNA.
Right.
and try to find a good fit, try to find a good match. And it's about really, it's the combination of finding that good match and managing their fears. Because business, the definition of business, in my opinion, is risk.
Right.
And how do you manage that?
Sure. And I think, Albert, as well, I mean, part of that process is they have all of these options. I mean, both on the resale side and then new franchise opportunities. There's so many franchise models and business types out there. So how important is it that you can kind of evaluate all of the models in your portfolio and then be able to distill that to, here's some, a handful of good options for your candidates. And I think you've helped them do a lot of that evaluation before they even start their process, right?
Yeah, it's without a doubt the most important thing, because otherwise you're going to get lost in the treadmill, not the treadmill. What are the things the hamsters run
Hamster
on?
wheel.
The hamster wheel.
Yeah.
It doesn't end. There are endless opportunities.
Right.
So, and actually, I think we're going to get to this later. We'll talk about some of the most difficult people to place and some of the easiest people to place. But when you have so much opportunity, you've got to be able to narrow it down.
Right.
You've got to be able to drill down to what's really important, what will work, what won't work. And a very simple example, like when we find very often that some of the biggest pain points in people who have had existing businesses or have gone into business and didn't work out right, it's one, they were undercapitalized, or two, it did not meet what they really wanted out of life. Because when they went into it, they thought, okay, I'm going to jump into business. It will give me free time. I'll be able to go coach my kids' soccer. I'll be able to not work for the man. I'll be able to set my own hours. Sure. And then the business sucks them in and they get none of that.
Right.
So I use those kinds of examples to educate clients, to tell them, listen, that business may feel safer to you because it's got a couple $100,000 in cash flow, but here's the reality. Or, and this is where it's a delicate balance when trying to evaluate how important existing cash flow is. Or, Mike, let's look at a business that doesn't have that cash flow now, but they're razor sharp focused on the lifestyle you're trying to build, and you're going to get there within a year.
Right.
And I guarantee you that if I put that contrast, take the money now and maybe be stuck, or don't have the money now but be unstuck and build the life that you want, right, that's a tough decision. And that's my secret sauce to helping the client visualize and understand what they want. It's not what I want, it's what they want.
Right. Absolutely. And I think helping them evaluate, maybe the upsides and the downsides of every model and assessing, what really matters to them, like you've said.
Correct.
Fantastic. So, Albert, it's a natural segue, I think. Do you have any particular example of maybe a challenging candidate and one that you eventually were able to help get across that finish line and make a decision that worked well for them in the long run?
I can talk about a couple of different things, but I think what would be important for people to understand is, I think people think intuitively, one of the fundamental fears is that, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the money, I don't have the skill set to go into a new business. And I'm telling you, my experience is the opposite is true. Meaning what? It's the people I find. So we're getting a lot of activity still till today from the aftermath of COVID. Right. So COVID was such a disruptor. There just are people who don't want to commute they don't want to commute any longer. Sure. They don't want to work in the corporate environment anymore. They want to spend more time with their family. So these are people who have done well, six-figure salaries plus. They've built a lovely lifestyle. They're used to a certain lifestyle. They're very smart. They're very knowledgeable in their field. They have transferable skills. They have money. In other words, they could do whatever they want.
Sure.
So I'm contrasting that with the people who don't have a lot of money, who really are limited in their options. Who do you think is easier to place?
I mean, yeah.
It's the person with all of the options.
Sure, of course.
It is. I find that they are much more difficult,
Right.
because they could do whatever they want. There's so many options that it just takes longer. And they because they know they have the options, they really haven't done the self-reflection
Right.
to determine what they want, what they don't want. So getting to that, it takes a lot of peeling of the onion. So yes. So I find that many of these corporate types I have successfully placed in some of the white collar businesses. Let's call them B2B businesses. Schoolie Mitchell being one of them.
Sure.
Express Personnel. And, people who are used to the corporate environment tend to have an affinity towards office work rather than warehouse work, rather than working in someone's home, and an affinity towards B2B.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. And so, Albert, I'm interested to hear a little bit about how you are able to get people to really think about their passions and dreams. I think, some people that comes naturally. I think for others, it's something that has to be pulled out of them. So what is your process? Is it largely based off of questions and sort of personal assessments? What is your process like to get that out of your candidates?
Yeah. So that's a great question. It's a lot of open-ended questions, a lot of letting the candidate talk. If you let people talk, they'll eventually tell you
Sure.
what they are looking for, what they want, what they're passionate about. And I have to tell you, Franet does an excellent job. This entrepreneurial profile, which is utilized to help. It helps us, but it really helps the candidate identify for themselves what's important to them, what's not important to them. So we use tools like that. We follow up with things that they've expressed in those tools, those assessments, to see if they're on track. And it's simple questions, Mike. Do you think this is what you want to do? Do you think it's going to make you feel like you've achieved the independence that you wanted to achieve? I mean, Mike, you told me that spending more time with the children is a priority. Do you think this will allow that? Tell me what you think. It's open-ended questions and really active listening. Sure. Is how I do it.
Sure. No, fantastic. And then I think sometimes people also, Albert, have misconceptions maybe about either franchising or business ownership in general. Do you find that there's sometimes misconceptions in individuals that you have to overcome? Yes. and really educate them? And how do you do that as well?
Well, you need to be able to drill down at some point to what they know and what they don't know, and they'll tell you, right? And the common misconceptions I hear regularly, so I'm attuned to them. I know how to pick up on them. The notion that cash flowing businesses are better opportunities than starting something new. Well, not so fast. And the notion that franchising is very expensive. The notion that here's a good one. I want to invest and I want to be absentee.
Right.
My first response is, well, go buy real estate.
Sure. That's right? A good point. Yeah.
You want to be in business and you want to be absentee. There's let's have a conversation. Let's understand that a little bit.
Yeah.
There are many business models where you could be less involved, more absentee than others, but completely absentee. I mean, there are a handful of franchise models which almost allow that, but you've got to be in. And so then the question becomes, how much time do you want to put in? What are your expectations of your time constraints? You hear that a lot with people who want to cultivate something on the side, meaning they have their job, they'd like to keep that job, but they have a little flexibility, so they'd like to cultivate a business on the side. I go out of my way to make sure they understand the time constraints, what's involved, what are you doing?
Sure.
One of the key things is the role of the owner. What are you doing as an owner that is in your comfort zone, that you want to do, that you get up every morning and go, yes, I can do this? For some people, it's back office stuff. it's operational. For other people, it's being out front, the sales, the marketing, the networking, and everyone is different. And you've got to ask those questions. You've got to get a sense from your client about, what they are comfortable doing, and moreover, what they want to do. I mean, I may be comfortable building shelves, but that's not what I want to do.
Sure.
Right. So
absolutely. No, I think sometimes people maybe misconstrue, I need to get into a business that's related to my interests, but a lot of people, I think it's their passion was building the business in itself, right? So getting them to think in a different way and reframing their thought process. So.
We have a classic example where an attorney is looking for a new business, wants to cultivate something on the side. And one of our associates says, well, how about a cleaning company? And the attorney goes, what, are you kidding me? I don't want a cleaning company. Why would I want to go clean people's houses? Come on, you don't have this right. Somebody else, a mentor, gets involved and says, okay, forget the cleaning company. How about a business where you work 10 hours a week, the manager runs the business, you have a handful of employees, and your real job in this business is managing the manager, make sure he's doing the proper hiring. Oh, I love that. That's a business I can get behind. Well, guess what, Mr. Attorney? It's the same business.
Right. Oh, that's a good point.
So it's not the business. It's not the widget.
Right.
It's the business model around the widget.
Sure.
And I have to tell you, that's, again, I'm going to praise FranNet. They're very good about that. And the franchise companies that they have in their inventory that they vet are very strong in talking about the role of the owner and what am I doing? What am I doing as an owner? And do I have that skill set? So that's where we go.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, right? So now my last question, really, Albert, is any specific success stories that you might want to share about probably not without naming names, of a candidate you were able to place and they ended up building something great, or anything you wanted to share along those success storylines?
So sure, I'm going to steal one from my associate,
okay,
Stuart, who recently, not too recent, like 5-6 years ago, placed someone in a corporate type, placed them in a locksmith business, franchise locksmith business. They ended up building multiple units, and I think within 6 years, sold the entire thing. They made money during the process. They built a tremendous business, and they had a phenomenal exit. So great success story, and now they're on to their next thing. And it's those kinds of success stories that just blow your mind, to say, how did you make that connection from a corporate background to, I think it was a Pop-A-Lock, was the name of the franchise.
Right.
And the answer lives in that role of the owner, business model, scale, time to break even, time to profitability, and then how do I grow from there? And what is the owner oriented towards? This owner was a firebrand, focused on growth. It was the perfect vehicle to allow him to do that. Some people are not like that, and that's not where we should put them. So everything depends on who the purchaser is, what they're inclined to do, what they want to do, what they financially are able to do. Do they have, can we get them financed? So we really are in the business of educating people who maybe don't have all the facts, giving them the facts, and helping guide them. And it's very, very rewarding, because the successes are wonderful.
Absolutely. They make you feel good and make you feel like you've done right by that client. So
absolutely.
That's fantastic, Albert. Well, thank you for doing this. Before we sort of wrap things up, any last chance, anything you wanted to add, or where can people reach out to you and find you? The floor is yours.
So thank you. So first of all, this was great. I appreciate it. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Albert.Hakim. You can email me at albert@kensingtoncompany.com. And the message I want to give is that whatever you're thinking of, if it relates to business, I'm happy to give you the 20, 30 minutes consultation. It costs you nothing. If I can help, I'm happy to help. If I can't help, I'll tell you, because we don't get paid unless we have a success. So it's my honor and privilege to speak to people and help guide them. And sometimes the answer is, dude, you need a job. I can't help you. But more often than not, it's shocking the resources that we have that we can educate people to, and it leads to good outcomes. And I've told this to people in my 30-plus-year business career. I've never done anything that's more rewarding than this kind of stuff. It's that old adage, teach a man to fish, and they fish for life. So I'm happy to do that. So I encourage anyone who wants to have a conversation, please do. As you can tell, I don't bite, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Awesome, Albert. Well, thank you for doing this. And yeah, your clients will be in good hands with you. I can attest to that. So appreciate it. And hopefully we can do this again.
Thank you, Mike. This was fun. Thank you very much.
You got it.
Take care.